lot of the guys out here. Just overall thoughts day one.
Yeah, always exciting coming back for another year, no matter where you are, but especially here. Being back in front of our home crowd soon enough is going to be super fun. And as far as getting to know all the guys, it seems like we had a pretty cool group of guys at a very, very competitive camp here right now. So a lot of bodies here right now, and a lot of good things being seen. So
brand new coaching staff, athletic trainer, a lot of new faces around. You were able to see Sylvan and Ben in Utica so far. Just your overall vibe on them so far.
Yeah, they seem like they're super excited about their new role here. So we all are too. So it's super cool to see refreshing to see new coaching styles too. Just the way they go about their business, and the way they do our meetings and our practices. All positive so far. So we're super excited to play for them this year.
Jeremy, you've endured some serious highs a couple years ago, some lows last year. What's it going to take for this club to kind of get back to the postseason and establish that identity again?
Yeah, I think that's something that the coaching staff is preaching, right? They're serious about getting to the postseason, and that comes with consistency and playing the right brand of hockey. So I think right out the get-go in our first meeting, the couple things they said, we're like, play together, protect the middle of the ice, and play violent. Having a physical game is so important throughout a duration of a season. So hopefully those are some keys that we hold on to throughout the year, and can propel us into the postseason.
Obviously you guys lose Skioch. How much does it help bringing a guy like Graves and Taylor, two guys with a ton of turns under their belt?
Yeah, it seems like we got a lot older this year, right? We had a lot of rookies last year, and not that that's a bad thing, but experience is something you can't really teach. So having a couple older guys with Fossey, Graves, Sal, and Tails, obviously, of course. So hopefully that that brings some consistency and some wise thoughts into the room in between periods, when we need it. So excited to have all the older guys here.
Also helped bring in a guy who won a Kelly Cup last year, a guy like Wheeler, a big defenseman on the back, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, just getting bigger, stronger, older, I think, can only benefit us. So, excited to get the year going and getting to know all the guys.
Big year for you. Another deal, ECHL deal. What are you looking at going into this year? Again,
kind of the same mentality as the past 2 years, right? It's kind of stay in the moment, and just wherever you are, be the best you can be for whatever team you're on. And I like to consider myself a part of both teams. So when I'm here, I'm here, and I'm all in here in Adirondack, and when I'm up there, I'm all in on what they're doing up there. So excited for another year in the organization that has treated me well, and I've had a pleasure playing for the past couple years.
Jeremy, what have you noticed as far as the level of hunger within this group to kind of correct what happened last year?
Yeah, I think that starts with Cloutier bringing in a big camp, right? We have a lot of bodies here this year, so I think things are super competitive right off the get-go. No spots guaranteed on the team for anyone. So, even day one here, we've had a pretty high level and fast pace, physical too, and guys are competing for a spot on a team that I think is going to have a good playoff run this year. So, the level's been great so far.
Back at another camp, first time playing with Adirondack. What have you heard about the area? How do you like the area so far, and the guys?
Well, the area, it's been awesome. My dog's definitely in heaven. Found a dog park, found some trails, so he's living his best life right now. So it's been good to kind of walk around, kind of explore. Definitely a lot of history in all the buildings. You can see that it's an older place with the old architecture, so that's been kind of cool to kind of read some of the monument things. Still some more adventuring to do, that's for sure. Meeting everybody. Obviously being an older guy in the league and on the team, but it's good just to have that young guy energy. It just reminds me of younger times and how I used to be and looked up to the older guys. So it's been awesome. They treat me like I'm one of the little guys too, so definitely like to play around with them and maybe show them a few things or two.
What have you heard from other guys about the fans here at the arena? It can get pretty rowdy.
Yeah, they definitely said they're a very devoted crowd here, so looking forward to getting back on the ice and getting up against the glass and hearing them chant.
You're getting closer to quite the milestone of all-time games played. What does that mean to you, just to be able to play the game for as long as you have?
It just means I've been doing it a really long time, so I look forward to it every single day, practices, game days, everything coming to the rink. It's just a great routine, and it's been a lot of fun in my tenure in this league and hockey, so I just look forward to showing up and doing what I love.
Justin, what are you hoping to bring to the Thunder this year?
This year, obviously being an older guy, kind of brings some calmness, things young kids can kind of lose their head and kind of bring them back down, kind of teach them, change the channel, worry about the next shift or the next decision you have to make. So doing that, I play with a lot of energy, very vocal on and off the ice, so they'll definitely hear me, and the fans will probably get behind me as well. And just play hard, play the right way.
How do you adjust to a new camp? Obviously, you've been through a lot of these, but how do you adjust to coming here and starting off new in Adirondack?
Well, you can't be afraid to ask questions, and you got to be a sponge, even as an elder statesman in hockey right now, like I am. So ask questions, always be a sponge, and try to learn new things. So just approach it the same way I would if I was a 21-year-old rookie coming in. Just try to lead by example, compete hard when it's your turn, and try to do something that impresses not just your teammates, but the coaching staff as well.
Obviously a tough year for Adirondack, where they finished last year, the year before, going to Eastern Conference Finals. You'll get this team kind of, caught your eye to come here.
Well, I talked to a couple guys that were coming here, and I kind of like what they were saying about the city and the team and the coaching staff, and so I kind of did my homework, got a hold of the coaching staff. I like what they had to say. They like what I bring, so it was a pretty easy decision when we're all on the same board and want the same thing. So obviously last year wasn't the best year for here in Adirondack, so nothing but up to go for us.
As I mentioned before, experience is one thing. Adirondack lost Steele to retirement in the summer. They bring it together yourself, Braves, Boyd Brodeur, who played with Chippewa last year. How much does that help a team? Like you said, a young team, a lot of rookies, heading into the season.
Well, it just means we got different avenues for everyone to kind of look to. So if you kind of want like a guy like Gravy, who wears his heart on his sleeve and plays every shift with his heavy and everything, you can kind of talk to a guy like that. You got Bois, who got to go all the way to the finals last year and be a champion, things like that. And then myself, maybe away from the rink, you need some help and trying to how to manage being a pro. So you got all these different players that can bring different intangibles and hopefully give an answer to the young guys when they need it.
As someone who's been through a few camps, what were your kind of first impressions of today? It seemed like the guys were pretty intense, and there was some good competition out there.
Yeah, that was kind of the standard in our opening day meeting yesterday. We're here to compete, and no one's job is secure, so you got to make sure that you're putting 100% into every shift, every drill, and because someone's always watching, and as players, we got to hold ourselves to a high standard and accountability. So if someone's slacking, the guy next to you can make sure you get back on track and put ourselves in the right direction.
As somebody who's been around this league a while, what do you feel like makes a championship team in this league, and what do you think the Thunder have to do or add this year in order to kind of get to that level?
Well, I think it goes back to being accountable. You got to be accountable for yourself, but you got to be accountable for your teammates as well. When someone's on you trying to be the best version of yourself, don't take it as like, oh, what a jerk or a person like that. Say, hey, he expects more from me. What can I do to be that person? So when teams that have success, they're always holding each other to that highest standard, and the coaches are going to expect that from the players and themselves as well.
All right, Ryan, back with Adirondack at this moment, but on an AHL deal. What does that mean to you to get that over the summer?
Yeah, it was huge. Obviously, not the year that we wanted last year, but it was nice to get a little recognition at the end of the year and have an opportunity to play in Utica. And things went well, and had a good conversation with them after. And obviously, so excited to be not only here but in the organization. And it's nice to know that they are kind of watching down here and keep an eye on guys.
For a guy that was here last year, obviously last year was what it is.
Yeah.
But this year, what maybe do you sense a little different? Maybe a bit bigger, a bit more veteran presence here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the first thing I notice. We definitely have some big bodies in camp, whether they've played in this league or they haven't yet. But also, like you said, some veteran leadership. Guys that played hundreds and hundreds of pro games. So it's good to see those guys in the locker room. And then you have that balance between those guys and some young, new, exciting talent, fresh out of college and stuff like that. So it's good to have that balance. And I like where we are right now, heading into camp. So.
Ryan, having experienced the high of the Eastern Conference Finals and then to have that drop off last year, how has that increased your hunger to get back there? Just what is the level of just excitement and to get kind of back there and get this team established again?
Yeah, obviously, I think that's the expectation now. You know, we saw what it took to win. I wouldn't say necessarily when we were, you know, doing that well when we made the conference finals, I wouldn't say we were necessarily the most skilled team in the league or maybe even the best team in the league, but we did things the right way. We had the right culture, and, you know, things just fell how they fell. We had guys like veteran presence like Shane Harper, you know, just stuff like that. You know, we're looking to get back to that. Obviously, last year was difficult, and the year before was quite the opposite. So, you know, I think it's good that we've experienced both. We have a lot of guys that, you know, have experienced both. A good core group of guys, I would say, that have done both, and now we know what it takes, and we're looking to completely change last year.
What does it take to get back to that point?
Yeah, I think it's just doing the right things every day. You know, last year we would just kind of get hot and cold. It felt like we were very streaky. You know, we'd go on these streaks of games where we'd play very well, and then we go on some streaks where, you know, we just seem to play on our heels a lot. You know, this year, you know, we're preaching, you know, we want to play on our toes. We want to be in your face, you know, fast, competitive hockey team. Whereas times last year, I think we kind of got away from that and, you know, almost played a little timid at times. And it could have been, you know, maybe we were a little bit younger, but now there's no excuse, I feel like.
It's crazy to think about, but you're now one of the experienced guys
Yeah.
on this team. What did you think of today? Obviously, training camp, first training camp jitters for a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
Trying out for ECHL contract.
Yeah, it's awesome. Honestly, if you told me, you know, it's my 4th year already, I would be, you know, still surprised. But it's been awesome so far. It was good that we had a good group in Utica, set off on the right foot. A lot of guys that have been skating for a couple weeks already and working out and being around each other. That camaraderie's, you know, already come around. You know, guys are getting close, hanging out, watching football. So it's good. I think we're at an advantage where a lot of teams, you know, today's their first day meeting each other and getting on the ice together. And, you know, we've had a lot of guys kind of already around each other. So I think that's good. It'll spring us forward for sure.
What's the long-term plan with the tooth?
They won't fix it till I'm done playing, so I got to keep my my no tooth and my flipper on hand. So I actually don't wear it too much. I've only wore it maybe 2 or 3 times, but yeah, I've gotten some crazy looks from people like, why does that guy have no tooth? But stuck, yeah.
Kind of initial first impressions of the competition level today, and what did you kind of see? What were your impressions of day one?
You know what, for the first day I was pretty impressed with our compete level. Obviously you don't really judge the first day, right? Some guys were in an American League camp, and then guys have been skating at home, men's league or on their own, so the first day is always hard. And yeah, we want to evaluate guys, but we're kind of being more, I wouldn't say relaxed, but we're going to wait and see how it goes tomorrow, and then we can really evaluate tomorrow.
At what point, you know, have obviously being today, but when we talked over the summer, you kind of said it still didn't seem real that you were back here as a coach. Did it feel a little more real today being on the ice with the guys?
Yeah, you know, finally to get to step on the ice. I think I hadn't stepped on the ice here since my last game I played here, so that's when it was real, when that door was open and you went on the ice and skated around and took a look like you knew, yeah, all right, we're getting started now.
I know last year was tough for this group, but you saw what they did 2 years ago. How much of this is a personal pride thing? It's like, I want to be the guy that can get Adirondack Thunder back to where they were just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing myself and Ben have talked about. Maybe as players we didn't accomplish what we wanted to accomplish here, and obviously as coaches and from the past or now our group, we want to win, right? So that's why we said we're going to try to build the best team we can in the right group, and hopefully we can make a run.
33 guys in camp. We're expecting to see all 33 guys between the 2 games this weekend.
You know, see how the week goes. I mean, we'd like to cut it down and get down to more business before Friday and Saturday with a certain group. And also we're waiting to see what's going to happen on top too, and see how many bodies we get or if we get anyone. So, but right now we're going to take it a day at a time and see how Tuesday goes.
Do you guys plan on starting the season with the captain?
We're not sure what we're going to do, but you know, there'll be a thing that's going to come in through the group, and they're going to make the decision who steps up and who wants to be that leader.
You know, I know you can only go based off what you saw on tape last year, but what do you feel like maybe last year's group lacked that you're hoping to instill in this year's squad?
Well, I think anytime you have a tough season, it's hard, right, to be motivated. But, you know, when you play in this building and you get these big crowds here, it shouldn't be an issue. So We're not really sure what happened last year. That's one thing we try not to dwell on or talk about a lot. We want to focus on what we can do and stay positive and go in with that positive energy this season. And whatever happened last year is last year or happened the year before, and we just got to focus on our job and what the boys can control.
What are you kind of trying to instill in this group, and what do you hope will be some of the defining characteristics of this year's squad?
We need to be solid defensively. I mean, if you look at our goals against and you look at the teams that make the playoffs, we probably have to cut our goals against by 50 to close to 60 goals, and we got to improve in that area. So the focus right now, the first day, was all about competing D-zone. We've gone over our presentation in the room about how we want to play defensively, and we're hoping we can install that in our scrimmages and then build on that with our 2 exhibitions and then get ready the following week.
I know obviously it's still very early to be asking this question, but looking at what you saw out on the ice today, do you feel like there's a collection of guys there that can get this team to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think we got a good group there, good mix. We got some veterans, some young guys that are hungry to prove themselves. The guys we brought in, there's no reason, knock on wood, everyone stays healthy and we stay fresh all season, and then there should be any excuse for us not to make the playoffs.
How important was it for you to bring in, a guy like Graves and a guy like Taylor to this group?
It's important because we have a lot of younger guys, and guys that finished a year here last year were new too. They were like coming out of college, and to bring a guy like Taylor and Graves with their experience and leadership skills, it's definitely going to help us.
What have you noticed so far, Coach, is just the level of urgency amongst the guys, especially the ones who were here a couple of years ago, to get back to where they've been prior to last year?
Yeah, they do. I mean, from the phone conversations and last week at camp in Utica, some of the guys that were here, they want to win, right? And they want to get back to there. Winning's fun, right? So everyone's smiling when you're winning, and I think they want to get back to that. They made it pretty clear to us when we had those phone conversations, and when we saw them last week just from chatting, small talk. Yeah, they're competitors, right? So they want to get back to that.